Welcome to your real estate review with Alan Canis of Engel and Volker's Silicon Valley, your weekly getaway to the pulsating heart of the global real estate market. Join us as we bring you exclusive interviews with top producing real estate agents from around the globe. Whether you're a buyer, a seller, or just a real estate enthusiast, this is your insider look into the pros, cons, and the captivating allure of the world's most sought after locations. Let's discover where your next dream home awaits. Buckle up for a real estate journey like no other. This is your real estate review with Alan Canis of Engel and Volker's Silicon Valley. Welcome to your real estate review with Alan Canis. That's me of Engel and Volker's Silicon Valley. Today we have a very special guest, a very good friend of mine, and a referral partner, Carly Sweet with Coeur in Idaho. Hello, Carly.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Oh, welcome to the show. I always say to everybody that I'm excited to have them on, but I'm really excited to have you on.
Well, thank you. I feel special.
You are special.
Good, good.
We're going to dive right into it and just start asking questions. Please tell us how, when, and why you got into real estate.
Yeah, absolutely. So my background is in hospitality. So pretty much ever since I could have a job, I've been in restaurants, working front of house. I really enjoy people. I love socializing, and it just was a really good fit for me. So fast forward to 2018 is when I actually got into the real estate business. And reason being, I have three children. It was getting exceedingly difficult for me to, close down a bar or restaurant at 3 a.m., get a few hours of sleep, and then turn around and have to get kids up and ready for school, and then, rinse and repeat. So I needed to find something that, still helped me fulfill kind of that need for socialization, but didn't keep me out till 3 in the morning.
I,
So insert real estate. And it was interesting what a seamless transition it was. I kind of unknowingly was cultivating all of these skills that I would need for my real estate career since I was 15. So
I
yeah,
wouldn't
that's
know.
how I got into it. Yep.
I worked in a restaurant for 2 months
Uh-huh.
and I couldn't do it.
Well, I mean, it gives you a lot of ammo on how to deal with people and to be able to pivot and move quickly through a situation and turn it so that everyone's it just having that quick on your feet thinking is, I think, just something that's so necessary in our line of work. And you get a lot of that in the
Yeah,
restaurant business. You get
that's
a lot
true.
of
All the
really
different
great people. You
personalities.
get a lot of people who are very upset, and you need to make sure when they're walking out the door that that experience has been a good one for them, regardless of the little hiccup. So, like I said, it's just a very similar situation in real estate sometimes.
Please tell us a little bit about what got you into real estate. So, as far as what made the decision.
So like I said, I had a little bit of, I was having a little bit of a crisis there of having to figure out how to be a parent and then also, work at the same time as many people do. And so I actually had a friend of mine who was in real estate and he was looking for an assistant. And so it was
Ah,
always something that had kind of been on my radar. Actually, back in 2007, it was when I very first started about thinking about real estate. Thank goodness I didn't, because that probably wouldn't have been a great time to hop in. I don't know.
that
But
that's actually when I started.
oh my goodness, yeah. So you can speak to that. How yeah, I don't know. Being a new person in real estate is hard enough. I can only imagine. I was a bartender at that time, so everyone was drowning their sorrows. So I still got to participate a little bit. But so anyway, he was looking for an assistant, and that was kind of something that had been on my radar. So I took that position. I got licensed while I was doing that, and I quickly realized, well, I kind of already knew, but I was never made to be somebody's assistant.
Yeah.
I ended up going out on my own and brokerage hopping a little bit. I always tell people finding the right brokerage is kind of like dating, right? You
Yeah.
need to kiss a few frogs before you find your prince and decide to settle down. So did a little brokerage hopping, and I ended up where I'm at Engel and Volkers in 21, the beginning of 21.
And how we met.
That's
So
how we met. Yes, exactly. See, it was meant to be.
it was. And can you tell us a little bit about your specific experience with clients relocating to Coeur d'Alene?
Yeah, absolutely. So Coeur d'Alene is definitely a resort town. We are fueled by tourism. We've got this big, beautiful lake, Lake Coeur d'Alene, and then north of us in Sandpoint, there's Pond Array, and basically you could throw a rock and hit a lake here or a golf course. So we're very fueled by tourism. People that are relocating here tend to be second homes. We get a lot of
Okay.
vacation homes. During COVID, we had a lot of we got the receiving end of the mass exodus from cities, because we've got Spokane that's 30 minutes down the way. So you've got, great food, all the kind of city amenities, shopping, concerts, things like that. But, 30 minutes down the road in Coeur d'Alene, you're back to, the tourism, the lake life, the golf courses. We've got plenty of those. I think I said that already. But just vacation city, right? So our relocation tends to be people that can work remotely, people that it's a 45-minute flight to Seattle. So we get a lot of people that come over from the west side
Oh, that's
that
easy.
fly over to Seattle, once or twice a week if necessary, and then work remotely and be able to enjoy the outdoors in conjunction with their job.
I didn't realize it was that quick of a flight.
Yeah, it's real short.
There's a definite buzz about Coeur d'Alene.
Hmm.
And what do you think all the excitement is about and why people are relocating there? I know you talked a little bit about the golf courses. Is there more
Yeah.
to it?
Well, like I said, we have quite a few private clubs. We do have some public courses and things like that. But I think just being able to live on the lake is a big plus. Obviously, that's a dream for a lot of people. And we have a lot of lakefront that you're able to purchase and build, or around the lake. I know there are some lakes that there isn't a lot of real estate to be able to live on the lake. So we have a lot of that here. We're also, even though we are growing exponentially, I mean, from 2002 to 2022, the real estate market has increased 125%. So
Wow.
that's a huge increase. We attribute a lot of that to COVID, right? People escaping the city to come here. It's mostly just it's a vacation all the time, right? So we've got an amazing ski resort, we've got lakes, we've got golf. It's just kind of like a vacation paradise,
You
right?
have something for all seasons.
Yes, absolutely. We definitely have all four seasons. The winters are fairly mild. I mean, in my perspective, I'm from Whitefish, Montana, so winter
Okay.
lasts 8 months a year in Montana.
Yeah.
So, I would say the winters are pretty mild. We do get all four seasons. I mean, even though we have had this huge increase in price point, it's still more affordable than some places like Park City, like Lake Tahoe. So when people get priced out of those places, then they come here, and we still
Gotcha.
have all of the amazing amenities.
We talked a little bit about the real estate market, 125% growth.
Yes.
Is there is there more to it as far as is there building restrictions as far as you can only build so much? Because like here on the peninsula in the Silicon Valley, we're kind of on an island. We
Right.
can't build out more. So the
Yeah.
prices go up, but unfortunately the inventory is down.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, you can't make more lakefront property, though. You know what I mean? We do have a lot of it, and in terms of building out, yeah, there's plenty of room for us to build out. I think, obviously, you're not going to be right on the lake, but I think what the big thing is after the crash in
Yeah.
2008, nobody was building. There was no building happening. Everyone was buying up all these houses and flipping them. So when it came, to the pandemic and people making these mass exoduses and us being on the receiving end of that, we had no inventory for people to move to, right? So us trying, I think the last market forum that I went to, they said to put things in perspective, if we built 900 houses a month for the next 10 years,
Oh,
we'd still be behind. Like we
yeah.
had that much growth, right? COVID definitely pushed the price up. We've leveled out a bit, but I know that was a definite reason. You know, it's not because we can't build more. It's because we're such a destination. We live in a bubble, a resort bubble.
Well, I can't wait to visit now that I know you're
I
so
can't wait for
close.
this. Yeah, it's so much fun. It's just like our shop is right downtown. We've got this garage door that we roll up in the summertime, and I mean we cannot keep Gigi's on the shelf. We cannot keep private
Wow.
residences on the shelf. It's just it. You know, 4 months out of the year, it's just buzzing. We have tons of community events, farmers markets. We've got like an antique car show that does a parade every summer. We've got we host an Ironman here in Coeur d'Alene.
Really? Huh.
Yeah. So that'll be in the end of June, I believe, or beginning.
Not that
Yeah,
I attend, it's just
right. I don't train for it, but I'm here.
yeah.
I watch people do it. And then, you know, just down the road in Spokane, we've got like Hoop Fest, which is the biggest 3-on-3 tournament in the nation. You know, we've got Bloomsday, which is a huge 10K run. So there's a lot that goes on here that people don't have any idea
Okay,
of.
so I need to ask, what is Hoop Fest?
So Hoop Fest is a 3-on-3 tournament, right? So street basketball.
Okay.
Um, and they go, I mean, ESPN comes, they do like a dunk contest. Like it's a big ordeal, and it's the
Wow.
biggest one that's in the country. Yep. So,
And
um,
the reason why I wanted to clarify is because I just saw earlier today, my daughter showed me a
yeah.
TikTok of a woman doing hula hooping.
Oh,
So,
nope. Wrong hoop.
hula hoop.
Nope. It's everyone from little tiny, you know, preschool kids up to professional basketball players
Wow.
that are able to participate. So they shut down all of Spokane downtown, and it all just becomes basketball courts.
Oh, well, fun.
It's really
That would
fun.
be a lot of fun.
Yep.
What trends should potential relocators be aware of?
I feel like we, again, being kind of in this resort bubble, not a lot of, you know, the things, gosh, I'm just trying to, you know, a lot of things that happen out in the rest of the world were a little bit of an anomaly
Okay.
to those sorts of things. But what am I seeing trend wise? I mean, we are seeing a lot of movement towards like self care. So I was just in a house the other day that had a complete meditation room, right?
Wow.
Um, you know, things, I think luxury is moving more into the space of experiences. It's not as much about the stuff as it is
Yeah.
about the cool things you can do with your stuff, right? Yeah, I'm seeing a lot more of trending towards that. Maybe it's
Okay.
not, you know, 7,000 square feet, maybe it's 4,000 square feet, but all of the square footage has a purpose, right?
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
enjoying the surroundings, the
Yeah.
lifestyle of the outdoors,
Right.
which
Well, and I
see,
think that's a big reason why people move here. They move here so they can get out on a lake every day in the morning and then go golf. And then sometimes during the, you know, if you're here during the right season, you can ski and you can golf and be on your boat on the same day. Is it going to be warm on your boat? Probably not, but you can do it, you know? So
that's a wow.
yeah, I mean, you'd have to have a lot of energy. That's like for people younger than me, but you could, you know?
And what are some of the common challenges or pitfalls that people are facing when relocating to Coeur d'Alene?
As with any kind of growing place where the secret's out, right? Um,
Yeah.
competition, price wise competition. We're definitely starting to see multiple offers again, even in the luxury space. I have an agent who, you know, she submitted an offer. The house had been on the market for 6 days, and it was in the, you know, multi-million-dollar playing field. And yeah, they already had multiple offers, and it had been under a week. So we're kind of starting to see that. So being prepared to come with your highest and best. We're almost back there.
And
Um,
and how are you helping them navigate through these? How do you assist a client navigating through the
yeah,
multiple offer situation?
absolutely. Well, I am very huge proponent of it. The answer is always no if you don't ask. So I am a huge communicator. I have no problem calling the listing agent and saying, hey, can you tell me what is in, what do you have in hand? And can you tell me what those offers are? You'd be surprised how many agents do not call and
Yeah.
ask that simple question. Um, and that way, I'm able to say, here's where we're at. If, you know, either we can compete or we can't compete. And if we can compete, this is what we're going to need to come to the table with in order to, win the offer. So just really being hands-on and just getting the information, right? It's really just about asking and being communicative, making sure, that also on the data side of things, like I definitely run numbers, I definitely run, CMAs and just make sure that the price that they're asking matches up with what the market says, right? Unless it's multiple offers, and then it's
Yeah.
the price is what somebody's willing to pay for it, right? I
Exactly.
just
I
had
always
this conversation.
I tell my clients a home's value is what a buyer's willing to pay for it.
Absolutely,
Always.
absolutely,
And
and
communication is key.
a hundred percent.
I can't tell you how many times, well, and you're a listing agent as well,
Yeah.
that all of a sudden you could receive two, three, five offers, and maybe only one has communicated. The others just submit their offer
Oh my
and send a
gosh,
text.
those surprise offers. That's what I call those. Like, where did this come from?
Yeah, it's like, whoa, okay, wait a
Yeah. Yep.
minute.
Well, and that says
So,
a lot about like how is the rest of your transaction going to go, right? It's not, it's not always just about like what's the price and what's the terms. Like, what rapport do I have with the agent? Do I know this is going to be a smooth transaction? Are we going to get to the closing table without, with minimal hitches? There's never without a hitch, but so I think that's huge. Communication is we're in a relationship business, right? Like how,
it amazes me how many agents just want to text. It's like,
right?
and they say, I'm so busy, just send me a text. I like the getting on the
Yes,
phone and
I
talking with
agree.
somebody,
I
building
agree. I
that
think
relationship.
yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, I've done deals where it was with, somebody from the younger generation that they did not want to go on the phone. They just wanted to text, and that's what we did. But I agree. I think there's a lot more. It's just more personal
Yeah. And
to
this is a
talk on
personal
the phone.
business.
Yeah,
Whether you're buying a
absolutely.
first home, second home, third home, it's still
Right.
personal.
Yep.
So that's why I never got into commercial,
Oh gosh,
commercial
no,
business.
no. I don't think I could do it. I don't, I have, yeah, I'm on the 80% the emotional side.
Yeah, same way.
Yeah, no.
That's why we're such good friends. We get
Yes, I
along so well.
agree.
Um,
Totally agree.
can you give us, and you have a little bit, but more of a sense of a lifestyle in Coeur d'Alene, and what are the local communities? Because I know here on the peninsula in Silicon Valley, we have local communities in
Yeah.
each of the cities. What kind of amenities can a newcomer expect?
So, aside from, the lake and skiing and golfing, um, Coeur d'Alene and Spokane, this little Pacific Northwest area, is very well known for breweries. So
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
what the exact number is, but it's an obscene amount of breweries compared to the rest of the United States. And coffee shops. So breweries and coffee shops are, I'm on Sherman Avenue, which is right downtown in Coeur d'Alene right now. I can think of one, two, there's six in the next 2 blocks that I can actually just rattle off in my head right now. So just, it's a lot of outdoor patios. It's a lot of, yeah, gosh, just a lot of outdoor stuff,
So they want to
like,
keep you slightly inebriated and
yeah,
caffeinated.
absolutely. Inebriated, caffeinated, and maybe you might need sunscreen at some point. Yep.
Coeur d'Alene is known for its beautiful weather. Can you talk a little bit more about its climate?
Yeah,
So,
so we're a very dry climate. I mean, not like desert dry, but it's not humid here by any means. I'd probably have like an afro if it was, but again, we do get all 4 seasons. Like right now, yesterday we had our garage door open downtown. What is it? The middle April, so it was warm enough for that. It was 70, almost 70
okay.
yesterday. We're not quite as rainy as Seattle, even though sometimes it feels that way. But, yeah, it's just, we get a decent winter, we get a decent, spring, a nice summer. Summertime, usually, if we might be in the hundreds for like 1 week in the summer. I
Okay.
think last summer it was, yeah, just about a week where the hottest it got was 105 and we were all just in the lake, right? But it's pretty temperate, I would say. There's no extreme. I mean, between summertime and wintertime, I think there's about 125-degree difference from the lowest point to the highest point. So we get lots of cracked concrete, but but that's normal around here. So.
And speaking of climate, how is the business and economic climate in Coeur d'Alene?
Yeah, so Coeur d'Alene is definitely a lot busier during the summertime. So really the summertime, so from about, I don't know, end of April till October is really our busy season in Coeur d'Alene. After that, we do see some activity during the winter time, or like during Christmas. We do have a decent turnout for Christmas, and a lot of that is attributed to the resort, Coeur d'Alene Resort, and a lot of the things they do. Like they'll turn their infinity pool over at the golf course into a hot tub, so they call it Hot Winter Nights, and it's a lot of fun. There's a cruise that goes around Lake Coeur d'Alene, and obviously during the summertime, but in the wintertime they turn it into a Santa cruise, and so they
Oh,
decorate everything, and a lot of the houses actually participate too that are around the lake if somebody's living there during that time. But it's Christmas lights, and then they have Santa Claus. So they do a lot of little fun things like that in Coeur d'Alene. I would say the majority of the draw to North Idaho during the wintertime is going to be Sandpoint. So Sandpoint's about 45 minutes north of us. And Schweitzer Mountain it's just world class, gorgeous skiing. And that would be the draw for, North Idaho during the wintertime for the most part.
what is your favorite season?
My favorite season, gosh, I love summer. Like I'm a lake baby through and through. Like I said, I grew up in Whitefish. That has always been my life. I think the older that I get, the more I enjoy kind of the September, October, the end of August maybe, where it's kind of starting to, yeah, calm down a little bit around here, but you can still enjoy the lake, and it's still nice enough. We get beautiful fall, colors, and yeah, I would
I
say that's
used to be a winter. I loved winter
yeah,
and like the big sweaters and stuff. But as I've
yeah.
gotten older, I've gotten too cold. And
I hear you,
and I
right?
love summer. I love the
I
heat.
do. Yep.
So the hotter the better. Not 105, but
No, that's too.
80s.
Yes.
80s are perfect for me.
Yep. I used to live in
So
Santa Cruz for a very short amount of time, and that was perfect. I loved it. The
yeah.
climate there was just amazing. But I'm with you. During when I was younger, I grew up in Whitefish, so Big Mountain, or it's Whitefish Mountain Resort now. But that's what we did in the winter. So winter was fun. I snowboarded. I did, the winter sports. But yes, the now I have zero interest. I will sit in the chalet by the fire and drink my hot cocoa with my sweater on and wait for everyone else to get back.
I'm the same. Um, in what ways do you, as a real estate agent, provide value to someone relocating from another region or state? And how do you differentiate yourself from other agents in Coeur d'Alene?
Yeah. I hate that question and I love that question because anytimes like how do you differentiate yourself? Like I don't like go out of my way to be different than other people. I just do what I think I would want to be done for me if I was in their shoes, right?
Yeah.
So I just try to be the queen of all the information, really just be a concierge, right? A lot of my listing, when I do have a listing, I've brought on this new videographer, and one of the things that he does is, I'm sure you're familiar with Matterport, right?
Yes.
But it's Matterport, so you have it inside, but it's also outside of the walls of the listing. And so we'll go around and like I have a listing that's in Athol, Idaho right now. It's 20 acres, beautiful shop. Shameless plug. But
You got
anyway,
it.
there's a lot of things around, right? So there's Silverwood Theme Park. There's different beaches around. And so he will take, a bird's eye view. You can click and, what's over here. We do it in the city too. So you could do it for restaurants around and different, like here's a grocery store, but really just painting the picture of the lifestyle. So you
Okay.
can click on Silverwood and it'll bring up Silverwood's website. So just again, taking that a step further, being the concierge for your clients and helping them understand what it would be like to live here.
Love it. That's
Yeah,
great.
like I think that's what we all want, right?
It is.
It's not just about the house.
No.
It's
Well,
about
and we want to
where do we get?
know when we're moving, especially relocating to another area, we want to
Yeah,
know about that area and the
yep,
surroundings, especially for our kids, our family, et cetera. So
100%. Yep. Where's my Trader Joe's? Where's my Costco? Like, where would my kids go to school? That's a very important. That's the most
we just
important.
wrote an offer on a property that got accepted yesterday, and my client said the only downfall is there's no Whole Foods. But she said, but there is a Trader Joe's.
There
It's
you
like,
go.
okay. So,
I'll take it.
exactly. What's one piece of advice you would give someone who is thinking of relocating to Coeur d'Alene?
Well, I mean, hire me, first of all.
That's number one.
Yeah, just do your
There you
research.
go.
Just, do your research, figure out, come visit. I think that's a huge, huge one. Come visit. Um, it's definitely a vibe. It's definitely, I think I don't know, we get a bad rap for being, way up here in the northwest corner of the United States. And I just think come visit. You just have to see for yourself
Come and
what it's
experience.
like. Yep. And also come visit in the winter time as well. Because, you could be here during the summertime and you're like, oh, this is fantastic. And while I might say the winters are mild because I'm from Montana, you might be here in the winter and be like, what did we do? So just do your due diligence. I 100% think it's a wonderful place to live. But I would hate for my clients to turn around and be like, why did we do this? So
We bought a house up in a second home in Tahoe,
yeah.
and it was a great summer. The winter hit, and it had been the most snow in like 38 years
Oh my
reported.
gosh.
It was like, holy crap.
Right. You're like shoveling out your
And
door
then the
to get
next
out.
year, it was hardly any. I mean,
Sure.
so yeah,
Yeah.
we
Yep.
just happened to hit it. So I'm hearing that the real estate market in Coeur d'Alene can be a little crazy. You talked about multiple
Yep.
offers. What do you think is causing it?
Yeah, I think the low inventory.
Okay.
I think we're all still, there's a ton of building going on um, around for, the first time home buyers and, probably up to, I think we have a lot of new builds, probably up to like 1.2, 1.3 is kind of where the new builds are up to. But as far as the luxury sector, I would say that it's just kind of a low inventory. I think I looked earlier and we have 8 live
Wow.
listings on Lake Coeur d'Alene right at this second. So
That
yeah,
is,
we don't have a ton,
yeah.
and some of the ones that we do have are in kind of the gated communities as well. So the golf communities, Black Rock's a big one. So there's an extra membership fee on top of that you have to consider. Um, but yeah, that's I would say just the low inventory. There's not a whole heck of a lot to buy at this very second.
Okay. And where
I
do you
think
think
that'll change in the coming few months. But
and and where do you think most of your buyers are coming from?
our buyers definitely, the majority of them come from California, 100%. Over half of our buyers, over half of the people that relocated in 2024 came from California.
Okay.
Yep. And then the others are, we have a huge, uh, from west side of Washington, so the Seattle area. We get a lot of that. And then some we have a lot of snowbirds. So
Oh,
Arizona,
okay.
Scottsdale is a big one for us as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you talked about the market changing. How do you see it evolving in the next few years, and what impact might it have on the current residents or new residents?
Yes. So it's kind of funny for me to be selling real estate and be in this world here right now. When I was in high school was a while ago, and but we in Whitefish that was the year we got our it's called Iron Horse. That's our Discovery Club, right?
Okay.
And so after that happened, there was a huge shift as far as kind of the secret was out. So we had a huge influx of people that came into Whitefish, basically drove up all the prices, right? Became the place to be. So for me, living through that, and then Coeur d'Alene's probably 20 years behind in 20 years behind Whitefish in that sense. So I'm kind of seeing it, how they say hindsight is 2020. I'm seeing it play out again. So basically, my perspective of what's going to happen, there was a house I was looking that was on the market in Whitefish. Gosh, not it was probably was last year, and it was this little 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom house, and it was $1.2 million, and it was just right in town. There was nothing, fancy about it or anything like that. So when people come to Coeur d'Alene and they say, "Oh my gosh, it's $600,000 for that house," I'm just you wait, just you wait. So I see I don't see it stopping by any means. Again, it's a destination. People want to be here, and it's attracting. It's a beautiful place to be, so it attracts people that can afford to be here. Unfortunately, that usually means that the people that have been here for so long get driven out. And do I have compassion absolutely for those folks, but I always just think,
Yeah.
having lived through it, and you can there's no, I mean, you can learn how to ride the wave or you can drown. That's where we're at here.
And
So
that's in so many places.
yep,
So
absolutely.
many.
Yep.
Um, so one thing we have not touched on is I'm a foodie.
Okay.
Is Coeur d'Alene a foodie town? We talked about beer and we talked about coffee.
Yeah. Beer and coffee. There are, I would say, shockingly, with the amount of money that is in this town, I have a little bit higher expectations for the food scene in general. That's not to say that there aren't some great restaurants here. And actually, one of my clients, he is a wine buyer, and he went to the resort here, the Coeur d'Alene Resort. They've got a restaurant called Beverly's, and he looked at their wine list and he said, "This is the second best wine list I have ever seen."
Wow,
And that's saying something for
that
somebody who,
is.
yeah, he's a huge guy in the wine world. So we do have great restaurants. I would say if you want really good food, Spokane's 30 minutes down the street. And my husband's a chef. Like, we've eaten our way through the whole Pacific Northwest for the most part. Yeah, I've got my favorites here in town in Coeur d'Alene, but I would say if you're a foodie, head to Spokane.
Okay, there we go.
Yep.
And how do you think technology and online resources have impacted the way people approach real estate in Coeur d'Alene?
I think it's again, being able to showcase people the lifestyle has been very helpful for my business. But I think, yeah, just being able to, I mean, I do so many FaceTime showings. As I said, we've got most of the people that are moving in are not moving in just moving around town. They're moving in from out of state. So
Okay.
I would say, like, Google Hangouts and FaceTime has been exponentially amazing for my business, because I go through the house and just say, "I promise to tell you if anything smells weird," like. And then either, during COVID, there were a few purchases that were happened that way, but at least now that, we're not in this crazy pandemic, people
Yeah.
can, that can be their first look. And then if they're serious, then they fly over and then we kind of pursue it further. But yeah, I think technology is fantastic. And I think if we don't embrace it, we're going to get left in the dust.
You said it, embracing it. We
Yeah.
have to embrace it. It's not going away.
Yeah.
It's like, what was it? My dad talks about years ago. He said when TV dinners came in, they said they were going to be a fad.
Yeah.
He said that was just,
Here we are.
it's just a fad. So, and
Yeah.
here we are. Yes. So one of the questions, this is the last question. It's not on the list. Is do you have a favorite real estate story that you would want to share?
Gosh, and
It could be
well, I guess
funny. It could be sad. It could be.
no, I mean, I guess I can say like I can tell you the story how I got licensed in Idaho.
Oh, okay.
So I was licensed, so I'm licensed in Washington and Idaho. And I had some clients that were just a random like realtor.com lead that came through. And I'm Armenian, so I saw their last name and it was an Armenian last name. So I said, "Oh, great, cool." And I called them. Well, my parents are from Fresno, and these clients they were from Fresno. So we got to talking. It turned out that we had shirt tail cousins. Like we weren't related by blood, but we were related by marriage. We didn't know. We had never met each other or anything, which was so bizarre. So anyway, they had been, I guess this is going to turn into two stories, but so that was just kind of kismet, which I thought it was super cool. But anyway, so they wanted to look in Liberty Lake. So we were looking, at some places on Liberty Lake. Well, all of a sudden they decided, maybe we might want to look in Coeur d'Alene as well. Well, at that point, I was not licensed here, which was so silly because, it's a 30-minute drive. So I ended up, this was not a tiny deal. Having a friend that was licensed over here in Coeur d'Alene, and we went and we looked at some properties, and I'm just thinking in my head, like, oh my gosh, like this is I'm gonna have to refer this out. Like I was so disappointed. Well, luckily they bought in Spokane or in Liberty Lake, right? So like, phew. But yeah, that was it. I was like, I immediately the next day I was, getting my license in Idaho because I'm like, that could never happen again,
Yeah.
right? So it's nice to be able to, I've got, both sides of the state line, which is helpful. Especially, Washington's a very blue state. Idaho is a very red state. So a lot of people make their moves according to politics. And so I get to hit both sides.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I guess that's kind of that's how I got licensed in Idaho. But I thought that the story of my clients and us being like technically related was so bizarre.
That's
So
interesting.
cool.
My parents were dating,
Hmm.
and they ended up, and they've been married for 58 years, I believe now. But when they
Okay.
were dating, they were each invited to, I think they were going to a shower or wedding, something. And my mom runs into my dad she says, "What are you doing here?" He says, "This is my cousin." And my mom goes, "This is my cousin."
Oh my God.
But it turns out it was by marriage, so it was not blood related. But they freaked out. So I can understand that.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny. I love
Oh,
that.
well, Carly, it has been wonderful having you on the
Yes,
podcast.
thank
Thank
you
you
so
so much.
much.
And anyone that is looking to relocate or want information on Coeur d'Alene in Idaho, definitely you need to call Carly Sweet.
Yes.
And I want to thank you again so much for being on the podcast, and thank everyone for watching the Real Estate Review with Alan Canis. Again, that's me of Engel and Volker, Silicon Valley. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alan. I really appreciate you having me, and I hope to see you soon. It's been
We
too long.
will, definitely.
Yeah.